Hey there, welcome to AWT, where we talk about men's wellness and men's mental health, and of course, how we feel we can develop these men in our society and encourage men to do better with themselves, actually. So, I have here with me,
Sakai.
have here with me.
Hola.
So, on today's episode, we'll be talking about how we feel our experience as Nigerians created today's environment, of course, yes, like, and how we feel these experiences are also affecting us, and then how we can also take our time to reevaluate these things and probably try to do better because, of course, I feel we can do better and probably create a more better environment for ourselves, you get. So I actually would like to probably share this experience of mine, of course, this life changing event anyway. So like while I was growing up, uh I usually like to ride at the back seat of the car, if you get. So I'm going to school one morning. I experienced this very violent incident. You get,
Yeah.
like, Nigerians now, you know how sometimes they like fight and bustle every morning for traffic, especially if something just happen. This guy dey power for this guy now. They are like, you get that kind of environment, and in the twinkle of an eye, bro, guy, like the manner in which the other person involved seemed to have attacked these other persons as uh, if this same thing was done to him in an instant, if it's something that would actually stick with him, like guy don't bleed up the guy now, like so that experience of actually getting to see somebody like that causing pain to another person, like that violent experience, it made me not want to put myself in positions that would rather make me to behave like that or probably cause me to receive such treatment. So this kind of growing up in this kind of environment, rather like our Nigeria today now, where a lot of persons actually like to resort to violent
Violence.
actions as first choice of actions. Like you just do some persist something where normally you can just talk about with words and see how we can choose the more better position on this certain matters. But the environment has probably, in my own opinion anyway, has caused most Nigerian men to rather prefer violence as a first choice of action. And I feel such a reaction on a daily basis is not something that is actually good to exhibit. You get? But I don't know, like, have you had such an experience whereby maybe something happened to you and you pretty much just made up your mind about it? Like, any
What?
experience so far?
Yeah. What I can say is the average Nigerian is angry because probably because of the living condition or the weather or something. So that shows the extent to which um, our environment can actually affect us. If you say as a Nigerian now, there are things we cannot accept outside. It is not home training. They did not bring you up into the life like that. Yeah. But you know that when you go to certain places like the market or bus stops, you give conductor money, you don't go speak English. If I give me my change, there are some things that naturally just know that because I'm Nigerian, I don't need to learn. I don't need to learn this one. Follow come. I think it differs with various cities, but individually there are things that connect us as Nigerians. Why even if I was born and brought up in Benin and I go to Lagos or I travel outside the country, if you see another Nigerian that was born and brought up in Lagos or Abuja, you will see know that this person is from Nigeria. Yes, so I think it is just around us from your interaction with neighbors to your interaction with public entities like your day-to-day bus driver, conductor, to interaction with school places and all of that. I feel like it's just generally
And I feel, sorry, I'm cutting short, but I also feel, you see this stuff you just pointed out now. If you ask me anyway, I feel these are all first choice of negative reaction to things, because in as much as I know these things happen in today's society, of course, like if you not take conductor say me give you your change, conductor will keep your money, you understand?
yes.
Or you go one when you say me you drop am, although you go one understand at times that because of the situation of the country things are hard
And
and things are difficult, but
true.
more difficult for me too. You know,
Yes.
understand? Like I feel the environment in such an experience or in a way has, through that action now, convinced a lot of persons to actually choose themselves first. Of course, I don't blame people for choosing themselves first, because it's a natural thing to do as human beings to get, like,
True.
but just a few persons that have over time been able to realize, in as much as this is the right thing to do, but there is a
Yeah.
more selfless thing to do, because I feel life is more than all about being or choosing myself. You get?
For me personally, I feel like man is a product of interaction. Like man is a social being, and most of the time we tend to view ourselves based on the mirror of society. Like my brother said now, if you wan collect your change for driver from bus conductor and they get misunderstanding, if you say you go dey form aje, you go just say move ahead, you know that
Yes,
kind of
sir.
thing. So
Sure, sir.
you gats
That
show yourself
fear
say omo me too, my head no still dey house
Yes,
oo
sir.
before you go fit collect your
change.
change for the guy house. So I feel like most of the time man generally can be mold into anything, just depends on the environment you grow up in. Like for example, in the medieval age now, you see all those Vikings lifestyle. You too can also be capable of such violence if
If you were born
you
in
had
that
grown.
time,
If you were born in that time
that's
and you
right.
grow up in such culture, you too can be capable of such
But
violence.
the majority of them anyway, because at the end of the day, even if we are going to make example of Scandinavia, Europe now, like you said, the
Yeah,
Vikings, not be all of them actually they fit enough. Although it was cultural for men to actually behave in that
yeah.
nature, but I would not say it was 100% all of the men that were able to act in that nature,
So
because
Yeah, but
it's
most of it, because it was first of all it was the culture of the day, so it was the norms. Understand? So if you now as a person you're not like your ideology is not really buying into the culture of the day, you will be seen as an outcast. You
true,
understand?
true,
So
yeah.
that is how it is also here in our country. There are a lot of core cultural value that a lot of Nigerians uphold. And if you seem to be going the other way, you will not be seen as a true Nigerian per se. You understand? So it's just as if um you're being forced into behaving in a particular manner
Mm,
just because society reflects it to you as that's the
that.
normal way
true,
to
but
be.
but but we also need to pinpoint that half the time these things that society make us behave like, not all of them are actually right. To half the
Of
No,
course
time
of
we are
course,
now,
of course,
just we
that's
are
the
just forced into doing all these things because you are not going to get around with it if you don't do it this way because
but
of the
yes.
society you find yourself.
anyways, like I pretty much said in the last episode, I did not used to believe in conspiracy theories. But anyways, this is just one of the uh experience in man's life, or experience in life generally, that I feel a lot of these elites, rather, or a lot of these persons that have the resources to ensure that certain people tend to live life in a certain manner which they would want them to live to, like I said in the last video, of course. You
Oh
get?
yeah, yeah.
So another thing I would also like to point out as Nigerians, like how our social interaction, because like the way in which we interact with one another beyond our homes and more than uh, sexual relationships, like our relations with other people. Like I don't feel like, how would you say your social interaction has cost you some experience, or has it cost you experiences that would make you to probably change in a certain manner, or probably affected your building up of your personality?
And so I would say comes with interacting with people. when you see somebody, the way the person approaches you, it lets you to know if it's somebody that you actually want to have a conversation with or somebody you want to avoid. Either being it, the person might look suspicious, either being it because the person wants to ask you for money or the person wants to ask for direction. But if the person does not approach you the way you feel like a normal Nigerian should approach you, that is definitely going to sound off. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I feel like um, when I see somebody, probably if I'm going to a store and I want to buy something, as a Nigerian, the first thing I do is well done, oh, or I greet the owner of the place. That first gives the notion of this person probably wants to buy something, and it gives the waiting you want to buy. Or if
Yeah.
yes, or if we see on the road, and maybe you fall something, or I need something from you, like direction or something. If I come and say good afternoon, well done, sorry, excuse me. As a Nigerian, whether I'm from that vicinity or not, the way I just sounded makes you understand. Let me see what you want.
Yes.
But there are
No,
people
no,
who act very suspicious that might just walk up to you and do the bros abego. That's what I'm even doing now. Still sounds you want to listen to the person. If you do bros abego or bros no vessel, you still sound Nigerian because I might want to listen to you. But there are people who come and do the sorry, I just lost my transport from here to this place now. And me and you as called Nigerians, they don't need to explain to you. I fell for that thing one time at the bus park. Somebody met me, bros, I be the come from this place. I had to so and so amount, but I don't lost out. Anything you give me now will help me to carry me to this place, and I have this distance to go.
So you felt scammed after that experience now?
I actually helped out. But after that experience, I will not lie, I felt scammed. So subsequently, I will not say I stopped being a giver. I still help people out and I still do what I want to do. But the fact that you're not being honest with me, you felt like I was part of those people that you can collect these things from on a normal level. So now, each time somebody walks up to me, I don't just give freely. I first have to assess you if you need it or not
Okay.
before I do. I don't know if it makes sense. So I feel
No,
like
but that assessing can be very difficult to get. I don't know
True,
me and you
sorry.
dey waka that for his head.
Yeah,
that
hey,
is-
see this let me tell this story. Let me tell you the story. So we actually just taking our normal evening show. We just do actually go like inside our estate. I will see one guy. If the guy use the converse to go and just do, I felt so touched. Like my guy said, well, I
Yeah.
said no, I said more try. Like we stood with this guy for a while, and like move for figure out what to do this guy, and other people stood with us. But whoa, it can't be like saying now only me no be the Nigerian. This my guy self still like we wanted to help because with what the guy was explaining to us, he just like say the rest people they enjoy
to
the
watch
story.
out.
Not they won't probably express it because no, I get money to contribute. No, we'll try buy this guy this thing, this guy this thing. Like pretty much everybody. I don't know if they had it, but that is why I pretty much just try to break the amount. Okay, we could just pay small to move, see how people raise the money for this guy. Nobody put one. That's okay. Just to clear my conscience because you know we sit well with
you know,
me.
say somebody actually came that day, and I don't know. I think it was a woman. She was whispering that this guy, I've seen this guy before somewhere. You know what the guy was
People
doing?
just dey
Like
pass the
epilepsy.
guy like
See,
the guy
seriously.
dey jerk. I don't
If
believe.
it be say that they give person Oscar for acting, that
Yeah.
guy for carry Oscar.
No, for
Because that guy-
Kota, for Child
Jesus.
Road. I call it like this guy no fit dey pre ten d because bro see your body. No help this guy. People dey look. People dey pass. I say okay, make I just clear my conscience. Boss, you say you go try round up money like make the okay now I quick drop my small thing. Me and my guy still comot like so we come dey come house back later that evening and that like I wan ten there about now and this thing happen like around 7 abi.
Yeah.
So I just see this same guy like across the road
Another
now.
location.
Another location now. Dey jerk for ground.
Why
Bro,
don't you just stand up now?
bro,
Now you never
how you take
die.
reach here? Like how wetin even happen to the contribution money? You understand?
Yeah.
But anyways, that aside, that pretty much just shows how
And not just that
our
day, I saw the guy
society,
again, another day, same thing.
how our society has maybe in one way or the other caused people to go straight to the extreme. Like, bro, wetin push you come reach that
Another Nigeria
extent?
cannot just
Do you
help you out
get-
of the blues anymore because
Of course
he or
not,
she
because-
feels like you want to take advantage of him or her. So help has to come from me knowing that you really want it.
I see
or
why I pray to your God to
um
work. Oh.
so you understand.
Like
So
why Nigerians have that mentality of pray to God. Now you can know. You
yes, you
understand?
run your race
But
and
in
run my
another
race.
manner or other, I feel as in as much as that pray to your God and normal the normal thing, but I feel it's more human of you to maybe try to help in one way or the other. Like you get maybe
See,
because maybe it's just me because I dey feel say if I meet in that position, I go really need help. So when I see people in
the first
that kind of
instinct
situation, I
that
usually
comes
want to help.
to your mind as a human being is even humanity first of all. Even if you don't know wetin humanity be, if you see that person, even if you never watch am for TV before, I feel like humanity is not taught, or I don't know how to explain it, but if you see what is not good, it's not good. If you see something that you can intervene in, you would want to. But the problem now is you see that thing at first. Trust me, everybody for that place feel the same way you feel, which is this guy needs help.
Yeah.
But you cannot tell somebody that has fallen to something like that once or twice to now offer help the same way you are offering help without being logical about it or without thinking about it or having a second thought about it. You understand what I dey talk?
No, normal you go
So
get that
Yeah.
thought, but
so I
at
feel
the
say
end of
half
the
the
day,
time, let me say nobody wan help half the time. I feel say half the time people actually wan do something about it. People wan help the way you want to help. But just because one way or another, I don dey tricked by this thing before. So now I no go fall for this thing again. I want to
So yeah. Yeah.
true.
better
Like you don't get any
you
experience like that.
understand. So
Like, have you had any experience that has like any
Propel me not to
experience?
want to help again.
Yes.
Hmm.
millions of experience, even close friends sef.
I dey try think. Oh, I'm not sure. Say I dey really.
But a giver is
Okay,
just
okay,
a
no.
giver is just a giver. You will not stop.
Anyways, fine.
You just
Anyways,
try to be logical around it, but you
but
just
you see
stop.
this.
There are many reasons why if you decide not to be a good person tomorrow, you can pinpoint and say, this is the reason why I decided not to be a good person.
True, like
This
everybody
is
will
the reason
definitely
why.
get their reason.
Yes,
But at the end of the day, I know if you say even if you have a reason for something, that doesn't mean make it right because
let me say a good person is just a good person. Give her 1 million reasons not to be good tomorrow. You'll still find that one reason to just do that thing
Just to do the same thing.
but could it be
Yeah.
like say our environment don't squeeze out that goodness in all of us anyway?
No, as a
Yes,
Nigerian,
Right
like,
now,
even
now basic instincts. A lot of
yes,
persons still
No, but
survive
if you
right now for this
actually, if you
Nigeria.
actually look at Nigerians are very calm, collected, and cool most of the time.
truthfully,
Most
And
of
it's
the time.
and regardless of everything we don't happen for our society, it is difficult to actually squeeze that humanity out of us.
common.
Because first of all, maybe the fact that predominantly we are very religious is also part of the thing why the reason why they no fit remove that
that
good.
Good, true, sha.
Yeah.
That's also there anyway. But this you would agree with me that in society, in as much as we've talked about our experiences in Nigeria society now, you would agree with me that some of these experiences that we tend to want to believe are conspiracies or rather are uh prop- I can't call it propaganda anyway. Let me use the right choice of word. Like people that constituted plans to ensure that things go in a particular manner. Like, can you relate it in another or other societies that you can maybe think of? Like,
Well, I feel like I can actually start from Nigeria because most of the time, eh, um, things that happen today, they are not just like happen out of the blue. It has to be events from yesterday that causes the
true.
activities of today. So yes, so the history of Nigeria, everything that has been happening since like time immemorial actually was what bets what is going on now at this point. Understand? Let me find a better way to explain. But Nigeria problem did not start from our own history.
Okay.
Like this current situation of how Nigeria is structured now, it has nothing to do with our forefathers. It started way back from another continent entirely. It started from Europe.
So another way in which I elite or these people with resources have been able to maybe in one way or the other cause society to behave in a particular manner in which they want For example, now how things are so difficult now in Nigerian society, now irrespective of all the factors responsible for it. But I believe this experience or these things have caused a lot of people to actually not work with their original pattern of life and pretty much cause people to lose a lot of human values which they shared with one another from way back. You get, for example, now like our Nigeria environment is a typical example of how a lot of our cultural norms and everything has stopped working, all because it has been so uh put together for everybody to be so attentive to one thing, and then the other things now are pretty much not in consideration as it used to be, because the attention has moved from these things to something else. And I don't feel this is something we should consider normal, because in as much as we want to deny that these things are not responsible one way or the other for how we tend to live our life, you get the experience of causing us to behave like this that shapes our various personalities per se now. So another example I would very much like we discussed one time, we talked about how uh, let's give an example of the black community, how the working system for the black community was way back before the whole uh what's it called, bro?
Pre-colonial era,
Pre-colonial era.
No, not even the pre-colonial era. We're talking about
during the slave trade time.
Crack epidemic stuff and everything.
yeah, during that time, how the white race, or rather how a group of elites were able to cause the destruction of a whole racial culture. You get, like,
Yeah.
the way they were able to bring in something that would disrupt a working system. You get, because they wanted things to work in a particular manner, like, you get,
Yeah.
and
They wanted to be in control of everything. But I
possibly
feel like if you're going to relate it to Nigeria and as to how to even solve our problems, like our political problem or the problem of the country, most of the time there's an adage that there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing that you would think of that have not been said before or that has not happened. So
true.
most of the time, most of the all these problems we are going through as a country, eh, you can find
Most
the
of them,
answers in the past,
true,
because it is actually the past that shapes the future. The future is the present is not independent of the
of the
past,
past, yeah,
and the future will not be independent of
of
the
the
present.
present.
You understand? So a lot of things that have happened before is what actually created the country we are living in. And I feel like what Nigeria really need, or let me not be very specific with Nigeria, but I feel like the solution to the problem from everything that we've been saying is actually rebirth of cultural value, like a renaissance, or was that word renaissance?
Reorientation of
Yeah,
reorientation of
that's actually what we need, because if from everything we've been talking for, even from the previous
Episode.
episode, we've talked about how society shapes people, and you understand that most of the time those culture or those value that they instill in us are not necessarily good. Understand? Are not necessarily what is appropriate. It's just probably because, like you said, some elites are trying to be in control of with everything that is happening. And to be in control, you have to actually control how people think. So the best solution now is like a rebirth of our culture. It's
But
not necessarily violence, as a lot of people will say, or you need to. Okay, fine. Of course, everybody have their own civil rights uh, to talk, protest against government. It's our fundamental right to do all of that. But I feel like there needs to be
personal
a
development.
personal development, a rebirth of our culture, because you can also relate it to what has happened before in the past. Okay, let's use America for example now. You see, after the slave trade and all of that, when this they
the
stopped,
incarceration
yeah,
periods,
during the slave trade and everything, when they started giving black people freedom. But there was also this law that the white passed. It's called the Jim Crow's law. It was like a law of segregation to say, okay, Yes, in some states it is legal to segregate the blacks. You understand? The white and black are not equal, just like this South African apartheid.
Yeah,
So
apartheid regime.
the system was almost the same. So this in most states they segregate. It was even okay to purge like this K-Klux Klan and everything. It's okay to, in order to enforce this law, you can, maybe for example now in some places they will be like black are not allowed to own land in this particular, and so that actually gave birth to what they call the Harlem Renaissance. Understand? So a lot of, it was as if it was a black form community in New York, that's Harlem, where most of all these
Artists.
black activists
Yeah.
yeah came from, you understand. So when that happened, a lot of blacks from all over America started running to Harlem because it was like a safe
Black owned
space
area.
Yes.
where they could live among black. And you see that period, a lot of things happened, a lot of good things, because when blacks came together, it was as if there was a rebirth, a cultural rebirth, because a lot of people came from that era that maybe like writers that wrote about black heritage, black culture, even this popular philosopher, Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois, he was from that era. So it was as if they were musicians who were using music to teach just within that
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 culture.
Harlem now. They were, it was as if they were reshaping the mindset of people, that blacks that were coming in good way, that they were telling them that okay, some of these white laws says black is inferior to white, even in the brain, because they've done a lot of nonsense theory at that time just
Mm.
to
To
Just
infuriate
to
the
make
black
make
culture.
black
themselves feel
culture,
good,
yeah,
like the whites make themselves feel
feel,
good. They
To
yeah,
tell
feel
them
super
that
superior
love.
over
these
the
people, that don't worry about what you are doing to them, they are not really human beings like us, they are not special like us, this is what they are made for. And years of blacks indoctrinating that idea of okay, we are not as good as them, we are not as bright as them, they actually affected them.
Those
So
are
that,
traumatic responses.
exactly. So that period actually shapes this period. This that was in like around the 1920s. Alarm, you can check it out. Is all is online. That's the Alarm Renaissance. Rebirth. If you check the word, it's more like rebirth. Mhm. So that period actually brought about a lot of black philosophers, black musicians, black music, black businessmen,
Because
because
of,
in some places they were not allowed to do business. They have economic repression for blacks, you understand. But within our community, they were allowed to do business, and a lot of them prospered. But one thing that was important, is that those articles that were written by these
people.
black philosophers of black pride, black, all of that, to revamp our
Culture.
culture, they actually shaped. It was even what led to all the many uh, civil rights movement that
yes,
bettered those top
So,
civil
so,
rights people now.
so,
activists,
so,
And
so
that
what
period,
so
activists
what
that
then
came.
happened to black culture? Because black culture outside the country now is looking like a mess.
it's a process now, because like I said, this period, like I said, the past, the
The
present
present is not independent of the
is not
past.
independent of the past. So that little time that they were able to revamp the cultural heritage of the black led to a lot of things. It led to formation of family, black family. They taught them that family was very important in shaping of children. Understand? That's why I said
So
most of all
black
those,
culture
even,
still has that in
yes, you
tomorrow.
understand. So they actually were able to build cultural
Yeah,
heritage
teach.
that could fundamentally build individuals, and that was where this Martin Luther King, what was this other Muslim guy's name? Uh,
Um,
Muhammad
Muhammad
Ali.
Ali.
Muhammad, Muhammad Ali.
Yes, now then,
That was where all these people came from. These people that were so strong in liberating African
I
culture.
think I know the person, the Muslim you're talking
I've
about. I
forgotten his
can't
name.
picture
Malcolm X.
Malcolm
Malcolm
X.
X. You understand? Yes, that guy. It was this period that bettered these
These
people.
people.
And when all of this civil rights movement started, it was leading to something else, because it was actually working. It was from there they started fighting this segregation, this Jim Crow's law, and there were people with different philosophy, and it was a problem anyway, because they have this National Association of Colored People, And then they now also have a. But I'm talking about this different philosophy. They also have this. What's this movement?
Just
Black
blacks
Panther.
not to agree on one
Yeah,
thing.
you have this
True.
Black Panther. Their own was, we cannot be rioting every time. We also need to arm ourselves as black to fight against this police brutality and all of that. But there were some people that said no, let us do it peacefully. Understand? Different culture, but it was
Hmm.
all working anyway. But at that time, it was becoming a nuisance to those people because
They didn't want the growth of the
they
black
had
society like
black
that.
businessmen sponsoring this movement, black men that were economically,
And
that was, as I said, a lot of things is important because you will also find the answers in the past. Yes, and this thing was moving because it was able to shape people's thoughts and perceptions. It was able to organize the black community. Just that little period. It was not a long period though. Within like 20 years. That was able to happen because they were able to drop all of the things they've learned from the many years of slavery
okay.
and then reshape themselves through
Cause themselves to
learning.
reevaluate.
The
Use
same
themselves.
thing that is also the same thing that they are even using to affect us, like our music, the kind of movies we watch, kind of books we read. That was what they used to
But
shape
more
those people.
positively
But it
then.
was more positive, even if a lot of people will not see it as positive. But if something is geared towards a particular path, even if it's
You
good,
get the
you
concept.
will get the consequence
Cause
of good.
good.
If it is bad, you will also